Hey guys, I just wanted to give you an update. I'm doing well, and so is Matthias. As you know, he came on April 21st. Let me give you a quick, I guess, story on his birth and my labor. On the 21st at like 2:30 in the morning, I started having pain. It didn't seem like it was contractions. Everyone says contractions are like period cramps. Initially, it felt like I was just extremely constipated. I woke my husband up around like 3:30 saying, "Hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm either really constipated or I'm in labor." So we let it go for a little while. It started to it started to get to the point where the only relief was if I like sat on the toilet and was like if I was like sitting on the toilet. It more so was in my rectal area that I was having discomfort and pressure. After a while, you could tell it was contractions because every so often I would be in pain and then I would be fine. During our birthing class, one of the instructors said that we shouldn't go to the hospital. I know until they're about 3 to 5 minutes apart. Also, she said that we shouldn't go to the hospital until I no longer, like, I wasn't a nice person anymore. Anyways, around like 5 something, we went to the hospital, and the hospital we were delivering at is like 45 minutes away. So my husband drove us there, and we were timing the contractions using some free app for the iPhone. We got there. It was only one, I think it was only like 1 centimeter dilated, but I was 90% effaced or 100% effaced. I had been effaced for quite a while at the 80-90% range for probably about 2 weeks. So we went, and before we went to the hospital, I went to the restroom and my urine was like bloody. Come to find out later, it was my water started like breaking. It was trickling. I had no clue. But when we got to the hospital, they checked me. Like I said, I was only about 1 centimeter. At that time, they had me walk around for about an hour. There was no progress. They told me to go home. At that time, we had no clue that I had no clue that my water had broke. I've never done this before. As I was walking, I would say probably about every 5 steps, I had to stop and I would have a contraction. But they weren't really being recorded on the machine. I think it's just because of where it was positioned, or I don't know, something. So anyways, they sent us home. We drove back to the house 45 minutes. When we got to the house, the contractions got worse. Before we left the hospital, I asked if there's anything I could take to make the pain go not so bad, because it was painful then, so I can only imagine when they wanted me to come back how painful it would be. And my menstrual cramps are hard anyways. Like, I am out of commission for like 2 days just with my menstrual cramps. So they basically said there's nothing I can take to make the pain, the edge off the pain, take the edge off the pain a little bit. My doctor just said that I could come home and take like a Benadryl to at least get some sleep between contractions. I listened to him, came home, took Benadryl. Not the greatest thing to do, just because I, for the most part, spent the day on the floor in the living room, nailed over the sofa, having contractions, rocking back and forth while I was in a contraction. Right after the contraction was over, I'd pass out. Sometimes I'd be standing and I would fall asleep. It was awful. My husband was like, "Felicia, like, lay down or get off the yoga ball because I was asleep. Anywho, so around 10:30, I had my husband call my doctor because I couldn't take it anymore. It was awful. I was crying. A contraction would come and I was moaning like someone was killing me. So the doctor said that since I was in that much pain to come back. My contractions still were only they weren't consistent. They were probably about 5 to 7 minutes apart, maybe a little bit more. So we went back to the hospital. By the time we got back to the hospital, my husband had to wheel me in. I was bawling my eyes out. Yeah, it wasn't fun. So rather than testing me and all, they put me right into a room. Our nurse was amazing. I was like, I need an epidural because I couldn't imagine doing that without an epidural, especially since I wasn't like that far along. When they checked me at that time, I was like 5 centimeters dilated, 100% effaced. My contractions still were really far apart. Anyways, to speed everything up, eventually, they had to give me Pitocin to speed up the process because I was in labor and then labor and then labor. Like it wasn't going anywhere. My contractions hadn't sped up. Eventually, it was time to push. My contractions were still about 5 minutes apart when I was pushing. I ended up pushing for 3 hours and like 10 minutes. It got to the point where my doctor was like, okay, we're about to get a vacuum or something to assist you with this pushing. And I was like, oh no, this ain't happening. Well, I said that in my head. So I pushed. Now, those that haven't been through labor, I knew about the Kegel muscle. I've worked the Kegel muscle. I guess worked it out. I don't know. But when they say push, it makes me think like we're pushing like you're trying to push a bowel movement, like you're pushing. But actually, I'm supposed to be squeezing my Kegel muscle, like someone put something in, like their finger in me, and I'm supposed to be squeezing their finger. That's squeezing, not pushing. Pushing's like trying to push it out of you. Push the finger out of you. I don't know why they call it pushing. I guess later on, as I got further along and he started coming down and his head started coming out, it felt like I was pushing, but I was still actually squeezing the Kegel muscle. Anyways, he was born, as I said before, at 38 weeks and 4 days. He was 5 pounds, 6 ounces, 18.25 inches long. He's healthy. He just was ready to come. I asked why he was so little. They haven't really given me an answer. I guess just some people just have small babies. Makes no sense to me, but whatever. As far as this past few weeks, everything's been good. I'm breastfeeding. Initially, it was draining. As soon as I was done breastfeeding, I'd be dying of thirst and starving to death. That has gone away a little bit. It wasn't that hard for me to breastfeed just because he loves to eat and he has the I don't know what they call it, like the sucking. He loves he's sucking all the time. So initially when I was in the hospital, anytime he started rooting, even if it wasn't necessarily for a boob, I'd give it to him. Just because I've learned that the more they suck, the more milk you produce. It normally takes about 2 days for your milk to, say today he starts feeding a whole lot more in 2 days, my milk supply will catch up to what he did today. So I was like, get the milk coming in, feed him as much as I possibly could. Everything seems to be going well. I'm trying to get into pumping as well as feeding to him. It's not really easy right now just because I feel like if I pump right after each feeding, he's just going to feed more. and then throw up anything that he doesn't want, which he seems to be doing. But he's gaining weight. He's getting chunky. I call him my little chunky monkey. He really isn't that chunky. He's probably like maybe 6 pounds something, but compared to what he was born at, he's a chunky monkey. That's basically, I think, it. Oh, I didn't have any tearing, didn't have any hemorrhoids. I feel like I might have an internal because I'm constipated, and when it comes, it's not comfortable. I've been taking stool softeners, but they don't seem to help. I'm going to try some apple juice. That's probably a little too much TMI, but hey, if it helps someone out, might as well say it. Is there anything else? Oh, by the way, on the day that he was born, I was supposed to have my baby shower. So we told them to go on and have it without us because it was at our church. So while I'm in labor, they're having my baby shower. So we came home to a bunch of presents and all that we opened. I can't wait to see everyone. We have about 2 more weeks to see everyone, just so I can thank them and then physically see them. I just feel like, I don't know, outside of family members and close friends, I haven't seen anyone. And I'm just ready to say hi to everyone and thank everyone for the baby shower and all the amazing gifts that we got. And just to socialize with people. That's basically it. I've probably said that 5 million times now. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Labor's still fresh on the brain. It wasn't fun, not one bit, but I can understand why people say, you'll forget about it, and when the next one comes, you'll be like, ugh. I can understand that. He's worth the labor, but the labor sucked. That's it, guys. Have a great weekend.